Hey, so you made it to my basement. Come on in. I am Lisa Dublin, a health and life coach, a motivational speaker, and an author. Welcome to Basement Chronicles. This is the podcast for professional, executive, and A-type women, or P women, as I like to call us. Yes, us, because I too am a P woman. And if you are still listening, you are probably either a professional, executive, or A-type woman, or all of them. You are extraordinary, driven, determined, resourceful. You don't give up easily, and you always find a way. You are an expert in your field, a manager, an executive, or a CEO. In fact, you are the asset. In this podcast, I will remind you of your excellence and help you to manage all that God-given potential. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Basement Chronicles, episode number 2. Today's podcast is titled, You Are the Asset. And I want to encourage you today to look at yourself as so valuable, such an asset, that you are open to feedback. You go out, you get it, because it is the only way that you can develop all of that God-given potential. So I had to interrupt the flow of my podcast episodes to insert this one as the second one because of what happened after I put out my first episode of Basement Chronicles. You guys, I put it out, and what I did was to solicit feedback from people who mattered. And I put it in my Speak with Confidence group. It's a group of women that I've trained over the years in how to be authentic and confident as speakers. They are P women. They are the professionals, the executives, the A-type women, and of course, people in different professions who came to my program to learn to speak well and to be able to present. And so they are trained, and even as their instructor, embarking on this new venture, I put the first episode in the chat and the floodgates opened. They gave constructive feedback. And if I didn't have the right mindset about what I was doing by soliciting feedback, I might have been so deflated. They pointed out the things that I needed to work on. They pointed me to my excellence and reminded me of who I was and what my best points and strengths were. It was an eye-opener. It really leveled up my game. But on reflecting on that whole exercise of receiving feedback, the one thing that I was happy for was that I took it in the best of spirits because I realized that I am the asset. And I saw myself literally in a boxing arena. I saw my students as my supporters, cheering me on, pointing to things that I should be doing. Not because they wanted bad for me, but they were as energized by my potential as I was and wanted me to get better. What about you? Do you go out looking for feedback, and how do you receive it? I know there are some people who love to put things out there and refuse to ask for feedback at all because they are afraid of what's going to come back to them. But that's because you're not looking at yourself as the asset that you are. So full of potential that you recognize you have to go through the feedback process for you to get the best ideas and to bring out the best in you. If you look at yourself as the asset, you will have no problem going after, soliciting, and accepting feedback. In fact, when my students started telling me what they thought of my first podcast, you guys, I began to get very energized because they did two things. And I think that's what constructive feedback is about. Being objective. Number 2, also saying the good as well as what could be improved. So I was energized because I understood that they saw the potential. They were encouraged by what I had put out, my first offering. I was energized by that. I was like, yes, Lisa, you have something good. If you improve on this, if you take this advice, if you go back to the drawing board, you have a winner. That is how you look at yourself as an asset. Go for the constructive criticism. Go for the people who know what they're talking about. Go for those people who love you enough to tell you the truth. Get in the arena of criticism. Box with it, spar with it, and get better. And so a couple things stood out for me. When you start something new, by all means, do your homework. Because yes, even though I loved criticism and I loved getting the feedback, I'm like, had I perhaps taken the time to put out my best product the first time, maybe some very basic things I might have been able to take care of. So the first thing is, if you're going to start something new, do your best. Prepare yourself. Good things take time to grow and develop. And if you are in that mindset, the earlier you begin to experiment, the earlier you begin to execute, get feedback, evaluate, go back to the drawing board and try again, you get better with time. And so I hope you recognize today that you are the asset. And I hope that realization helps you to get the courage to solicit feedback from the people who can give it objectively, who are in the know. Go after those people, seek them out, and rest always on the comfort that I put out something. Half the people who want to do something didn't. I put something out, and with this feedback, with the asset that I am, if I can implement what was suggested, if I can experiment, if I can go after mastery, that asset is going to become even more valuable. So thank you for listening to Basement Chronicles episode number 2. You are the asset. Hey, make sure you like this podcast. Make sure you leave me a review so that I can keep growing in the charts. Let me know what you think, because I understand the one way that I will grow is with feedback. So make sure to email me, lisa@lisamdublin.com. You can follow me everywhere. At Lisa M. Dublin is my handle on IG, on Threads, on Facebook, on YouTube as well. I've got the Basement Chronicles channel as well as my poetry channel. Come on, you can go to my website if you are interested in coaching with me. If you are a P woman, what are you waiting for? The one way to move your potential into execution and excellence is to get a coach. That's what I did. I still have a coach, and it's still working, and I can help you to realize your potential. Hit me up, go to my website, lisamdublin.com, and set up a free complimentary call where we can discuss your coaching needs. Bye. See you next time on Basement Chronicles.